Netflix is facing a disaster of epic proportions with Witcher Blood Origin. So far, critics hate it. They're saying it's slow, poorly written, and the CGI is bad. And even though it releases in a few days for us, people are threatening to boycott it over Henry Cavill leaving the main series. But now, a lot of people are questioning what Netflix is going to do now that the Witcher franchise has had multiple disasters for them, and people are wondering if they'll drop the series after this. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and to the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I wanted to start with this BGR article. It says Netflix's The Witcher franchise feels like it's collapsing before our eyes, which honestly is really sad. I love The Witcher. The video games are amazing, the books are amazing, but unfortunately Netflix hasn't been able to nail the live action series so far. I thought that they had something good going with the main series, but they really went off track. Unfortunately, no matter how much I like elements of season 1 and 2 of the original show, it wasn't completely accurate to source material, and it did have some glaringly obvious problems. And going from season 1 to 2, it seemed like they, put more money into it. They tried to fix up the CGI, and they did make improvements, but unfortunately it's just not enough. And now, of course, the main series is kind of dead because while Henry Cavill is in season 3, he's not going to be in season 4, and I don't really think many people that watched it previously are going to keep watching it. And with Blood Origin, it's kind of seemed like a bit of a disaster from the very beginning because, of course, this isn't really source material accurate since there isn't a lot of material that they're working with. They're working with things that were mentioned in the novels, but it's not like there was a sole novel dedicated to this time that this show is based on. And they had a lot of wiggle room. They could do basically whatever the hell they wanted. And clearly, with the original show, the problems lied in what was original. And now, people are wondering what's going to happen with the franchise. I do think that it is making Netflix money still. I think that they're definitely not going to, cancel the original show, but I don't think that Blood Origin is going to be a multiple season situation. I think that the first season probably isn't going to do great, and then they're going to cut their losses and say, you know what, we are not, in fact, going to do more seasons. But of course, they'll play it off as, well, that was only, our intention was to do one season, even if it isn't. It says we're still a week out from the debut of the Witcher prequel series, but the negative headlines keep piling up, so much so that it almost feels like the entire franchise is struggling and maybe even collapsing as opposed to merely this or that piece of it. Bad reviews and no more Cavill for season 3. This series, announced to great fanfare back in 2020 when it seemed like the franchise still had a chance to become Netflix's Game of Thrones, is already trounced via early reviews, garnering a terrible 38% critic score, for example, on Rotten Tomatoes. I always say this, but take critic reviews with a grain of salt. A lot of the times when critics hate something, consumers love it. But because so many people are boycotting this series and there's been so much heat on social media surrounding this show, I don't think that it's going to do great. I don't think that we're going to see like a 90% audience score. Maybe we will. I just just don't think that we are. It says a shallow excavation of ancient lore from this fantasy series, the review site's critic consensus summarizes. Blood Origins shares ancestral DNA with The Witcher, but little of what makes the Mothership series memorable. On top of the drama surrounding Cavill's now certain exodus from the show, despite fans petitioning to bring him back and whispers of creative differences over the show's direction, these early reviews don't bode well for what viewers will also say once they eventually chime in. It says Blood Origin. For that matter, Blood Origin is entering the picture at a time when it feels like the main show's season 2 debut was much less of an event. The main series on Rotten Tomatoes audience scores from season 1 to 2 plummeted from 90 to 59%, with many fans pointing to Cavill's participation as one of its few saving graces. And now people are wondering, what's going to happen with the future of the franchise? Cavill is out, people are threatening to boycott the Mothership show. People are ratioing anything having to do with Blood Origin. I mean, look at the final official trailer that they put out 2 weeks ago over on YouTube. 26,000 likes to 163,000 dislikes. The comments are filled with people questioning what they're even doing with this show, and there's many articles like this releasing. Here's a Forbes one. Netflix's Witcher universe is in trouble as bad Blood Origin reviews come in. It says with the arrival of Blood Origin reviews this week, it's easy to see the problems the series faces outside of its initial promising first season and solid animated prequel. Here's what's going on. Henry Cavill is leaving season 3. He's being replaced by Liam Hemsworth. Rather, there were rumors that Cavill may have sparred with the writers of the show, who were reported to actively dislike the original books and games, something Cavill was deeply passionate about, and it remained odd that he would be so thrilled about a role only to drop it and leave the story to be finished by another actor. And then The Witcher season 2 was not as nearly well received by fans of the first season. Now, this week, Netflix's idea to expand The Witcher into an additional live-action series with the ultra prequel Blood Origin does not seem to have worked out well. I think that this whole situation is very unfortunate. I really do love The Witcher, but the shows that Netflix have been making have not been great. And I don't have any excitement left in me for Blood Origin. I think that the timing of everything has been really terrible for them. First of all, weeks ago, when they announced Henry Cavill was exiting The Witcher, they should not have announced his replacement right away. They did the same day at the same time. They shouldn't have done that. They should have given people a couple of weeks to get used to the change, to think about it, and then they should have announced the replacement, because you don't want to throw too much at audiences who can boycott your content. But Blood Origin also just has kind of a mediocre cast. Yes, Michelle Yeoh is a good actress in a lot of what she's been in, but the rest of the cast looks pretty mediocre. I mean, we've even got Rings of Power actors in here, which I'm not excited about. But it's not like they went into this trying to fix the issues with the base show. And unfortunately, it just sounds like it didn't really work out for them. Of course, I have talked about it before, but right now the critic score sitting at a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like I mentioned, people are just tanking it, saying despite its narrative swiftness, Blood Origin is just a time waster without the anchor that keeps the franchise grounded. It really is just a fantasy story without any of the things that make The Witcher special. There's very little here that must be seen if you're a fan of The Witcher, and with largely flat performances, tacky looking visual effects, even tackier looking sets, and a risible script, it's more like Battle Beyond the Stars meets Hawk the Slayer. So, as you can see, Netflix is facing another Witcher disaster, and I honestly think that they're going to keep up with the main show, but they're going to drop all of these side series like Blood Origin. I just don't see them going forward with series like this for a while. I think they're going to focus on season 3 of the Mothership show, get that out, and then I think that they will kind of reevaluate their plans going forward. I just think that Netflix is facing some major disasters here, and it does definitely look like the franchise is collapsing before our eyes in terms of TV series. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.